Welcome to Bicycle Safety 101. My name is Mr. Sears, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know today about being a safe rider on the roads. First things first, I'm going to give you a little background info. Be cautious when riding next to those death machines we call cars. 857 riders were killed in 2018 alone by motor bicyclist accidents. That number is astounding. All right, so what are we gonna do before we even get on the road? We're gonna check our bike, obviously. So let's look to make sure that the tires are filled up. They've got the proper amount of air in them. Use any kind of bicycle pump that you may have at home. Make sure that the air level is where it's supposed to be. And make sure it's firm, but not too firm, okay? So once our tires are filled up, we're gonna take a look at the brakes. Check the whole brake line, make sure everything is connected, make sure you have good stopping distance, make sure that the front and the back brakes are both working. Once we assess the brakes by giving it a test go, don't just take it right in the middle of the highway and try to brake, otherwise you may not brake at all, and that could be bad. Very bad. All right, so then let's look at the chain, make sure that the chain is working, make sure that there's no loose kinks, make sure that it's tight but not too tight, and that everything is working to where it can propel your bike to where you need to go. We don't want any chain accidents at all, because if the chain falls off mid bicycle ride, that could also be bad. All right. So here we have the pedals, these beautiful little pedals. Make sure that the pedals are where they're supposed to be. Make sure that you could reach the pedals. Make sure that the seat's not up too high to where you're not even able to get to them. The seat is also important because it needs to be comfortable for you to ride. If you're not comfortable riding, then it's just not a comfortable experience all around, and that could also be bad. All right. So if you see here, we have front and back lights. The front lights are going to be white, the back lights are going to be red. We have to make sure, per Florida law, that you have lights on the front and the back during non-daylight hours. Reason is because most bicycle injuries occur between 6 and 9 p.m. regardless of season. That includes daylight savings time. So if it's dark out, make sure you have lights where they're supposed to be. All right. And once you assess everything on your bike, you definitely got to assess yourself. All right, so we're talking about helmets. Make sure the helmet is looking like this astonishing young man right here. If you can see there, we have the V of the strap right around the ears. We have the neck strap going right around his neck, making sure it's not falling off his chin, making sure that it's not choking his neck by any means. And you want the crown of the helmet to be just above the eyebrows. You don't want it obscuring your vision by any means. All right, so once you get on the bike, grab those handlebars, make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're good to go. I think it's time to ride, guys. Bicycle riders and motor vehicleists actually have to follow the same laws on the road. So what does that mean? Same thing you learn when you're taking your driver safety test. And make sure you're riding exactly where you're supposed to be. Make sure that you're on the right side of the road in a bicycle lane. And if you're not in a bicycle lane, make sure you're actually where cars can see you. We're gonna just at least use effective communication with the drivers on the road. All right, so if we're taking a right turn, we're gonna use a right communication signal. If we're taking a left turn, we're gonna use a left communication signal. Eye contact is of utmost importance when we have a bicyclist and a motor vehicleist in close proximity. We don't want anything bad to happen between them. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is just making sure you can at least see everything. If you're going out into an intersection, look left to right, and then you're going to look left again. Don't go too fast in the intersection, and make sure that you have proper control. And say we are riding at nighttime, all right, so we have our lights, our handy dandy lights. Make sure you're also wearing bright color clothing. All right, I'm going to assess your knowledge. So let's talk about the do's and the don'ts. Brooke, give me a couple things that we're supposed to do when riding the bike. A do.
You should check your bike before you get on it, like the brakes and the tires and lights. Make sure your seat's in the right spot, wear a helmet, that kind of thing.
Fabulous, bro. Which brings me to my next topic, the pre-ride bicycle checklist. This covers everything we need to know about the bike. Basically that I said, but each of our classmates are going to get one of these that you can take home so you know what to check before you get on your bike. So this includes tires, brakes, chains, pedals, seats, lights, handlebars, helmet. You can have that for your keep. I bet. All right. Check bike and wear proper equipment. Eduardo, can you give me the do for bicycle safety?
Sure. So another two do's are to be alert and to do proper signaling.
Oh, 2 dudes, double the fun. Okay.
Two.
So, be alert, proper signaling. Eduardo, I really like that you mentioned be alert. What's one thing that does not make you alert?
Alcohol.
Good job.
Go, bro. Come on.
All right. Alcohol was involved in 37% of all fatal bicycle crashes in 2017. That number is astounding. So don't drink and ride, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. And what's one other thing that's not alert? Anybody? Males. All right. Bicycle deaths are 8 times higher for males than females. I'm not saying all males aren't alert, but we could be inattentive. I think the females in the class can agree. All right, so I think we pretty much covered all the do's. Let's go to don'ts. Brooke.
You don't want to wear dark clothing, and you don't want to assume that cars can see you all the time.
All right. So, don't wear dark clothing. All right. And don't assume that other people can see you, correct? Don't assume. Good job, because all right. Eduardo, can you give me any more don'ts for safe bicycle routing?
Only thing I can think of is don't just ride your bike if you haven't checked your equipment before you left.
Hey, that might be the only thing you could think of, but it's a good thing. We want to make sure we check everything. Don't forget to check equipment. All right, I appreciate the input. All right, class. As we get to the end of my presentation, I just want to see if you have any questions at all. Anything you care to ask me that we might not have touched today or that you might want some more understanding in?
You talked about what to do if there isn't a bike lane or bike path or anything like that, but you didn't say specifically where we should ride in the road. How would we ride on the actual road? Where in the lane?
Good point. So if there's not a bicycle lane, we really don't want to ride on the sidewalk. Just make sure to ride in the middle of the lane, believe it or not. You want to make sure that cars can see you and that you're in a safe area to where they can get over if they need to. And you're going to ride with the flow of traffic. But as soon as the bike lane becomes available, make sure to get back to the bike lane. All right. Any more questions?
I do have a question. So for as far as signaling goes, whenever you're on the bike, how would I signal that I have to make a stop?
Great question. What you're going to do is, while you're riding the bike, stop.
Okay.
Just like that.
Mhm.
Elbow out at 90 degrees, forearm facing down.
All right.